Yes, we are live. And oh my goodness, this has been a crazy 24 hours. And not even like maybe 50 minutes after I closed this stream last night, did this happen. And I was already in my pajamas, ready to go to bed. And I open X and I see this flurry of activity on X that America had bombed Venezuela, Caracas, the capital, and they had captured the president, Maduro. Now, this has a lot of impacts throughout the world, not only United States and Venezuela, you know, Trump is also talking about Mexico and several other South American countries. We have China to be concerned about. We have Russia to be concerned about as well. And, is this going to be a benefit to America or is it going to be, disastrous? Because I think a lot of us, especially millennials, have a lot of let's say, brain damage over the last 20 years of what has happened, with certain involvements, say Iraq and Afghanistan, turned really sour for the American people. An extended war, millions of deaths for civilians over there in those respective countries, and, hundreds of thousands of deaths, injuries and whatnot for our own soldiers. It was just not a very good, deal for the American people. And so we have a lot of leftover brain damage. So in this, I thought, well, why don't I do a rune reading to get some esoteric insight from the gods as to what's going to happen, how is this going to turn out for us, the American people, and how is this going to turn out, for the world at large. So I will be asking multiple questions. Yeah, we're screwed. The whole planet is screwed. Yeah, we've been screwed on so many different levels, but sometimes it's nice to do a reading to find out where exactly we're screwed from. So I do have rune cards. These are Freya Aswynn's rune cards, and I am one of her students. So I'm going to be using these. They're a little quicker to shuffle than, standard rune stones, carved runes that I do have on hand here, just in case. And the type of layout that I use is I read everything against the first et of the Elder Thufark, so Fehu through Wunyo. So we're going to be taking a look at that. So let's ask, will this be the triggering of World War III? Okay, so the first card I pull is Rido. That is wondering where this is going, where we are going at the time. And for in the Fehu position, Othala. So this is going to impact us here at home in America. I am an American. And I am in the Pacific Northwest, so yes, very much so. This does impact us here, where I understand some people in the South, this is like the edge of the first war that we've had closest to us in a very long time, in that, it's continuation of land to Venezuela, through the southern United States and Mexico and, all the countries in between to Venezuela. And then we're going to go to Urus. In the Urus position, we have Kenaz. So our vitality, our health, and our strength could be a little under fire. Intuitively, that's how I'm reading this card. It also has to do with knowledge. Kenaz has a lot to do with knowledge. Strength. Knowledge is strength. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see here. And the Thurazos position. Now, we have Sowilu. Thurisaz has to do with chaos and, masculine strength. Sowilu is about energy, the sun, and also victory. And I'm going to read your response here more accurately. Unless we as a species return to our pagan roots and remember Mother Earth, is sacred, we're all screwed. Exactly, yes. In the Ansu's position, we have Yera, which means that we're going to be seeing this develop over time. This happened so quickly, but the fallout from this is going to be years and years and years to come. It's not going to be overnight. Nobody's, the news cycle might move on, might not, but probably will move on from this. But the effects will be long-reaching. The news cycle today is more about clicks than it is about relevancy. Let's see here. And then in, the ancient pagan world wasn't exactly conflict-free. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, In the Rido position, we have Issa. So, this is interesting in that for Issa, in Rido, and then in our position right now, we have Rido. So nothing immediately is going to change. It's going to take time with Yera. I'm seeing a lot of people being very hopeful about, the possible economic benefits of additional oil, and I don't think it's going to come to us that easily. Now into the Kanos position. Remember, we already have Kanos here in our reading. We have Wunyo. So the more that we know, the more that we are going to be adjusted to what is going on. And I know some people like to avoid the news that, it's too bleak. But the more information that we have, the more that we are going to be able to better handle everything that is going on. As long as we take a balanced approach. Literally, if you feel overwhelmed from the news that you're hearing, the political, what I do to ground myself is I literally go outside and touch grass. How do I do that? I just go walk around barefoot for a little bit. Even if it's cold outside, I can stand it. I mean, there's worse things. In the Gabo position, in gifts, we have Nathis. So the energy being exchanged, this was a definite need. Why America did this, it was for a need. It wasn't, this is pretty much obvious for anybody that's paying attention. This was not about cocaine. This wasn't about, drugs and the DEA. No, this was for the petrodollar. And I posted a really funny meme on my X page earlier of Mr. Smithers being exposed by the petrodollar. So, yes, this was very much about the petrodollar and strengthening the petrodollar, which is what America's economy and the US dollar runs on. And in the Wunyo position, this is the end of this reading. I'll do multiple. We have manas. So in our joy, remember, Wunyo was already here in the Kenos position. So joy in our knowledge. The more information that we have, we're going to be happier. But in manas, together, we are going to be a lot happier. If we rely upon each other. During this time, we're kind of moving into a period of war, and it's not like America hasn't been in war for, there's official numbers of how long America has actually been in war for, and it's been extreme. But for Pete Hegseth to turn the Department of Defense into the Department of War, that should have been a very big precursor for us. So uniting us with each other, or with our friends, family, loved ones, creating communities, just in case things do get rough for us in America. Nobody has brought up that this would result in a draft that I've seen. but I can see at this point that we're going to be dragged into another conflict, unless I am wrong. And maybe I am wrong. Let's do a reading on that. Alrighty, now is America going to be drawn into a long conflict with Venezuela as far as, say, guerrilla warfare goes with getting this oil, because that's the end goal. That is what America is doing right now. They're sending in American oil companies to do their thing in Venezuela. Alrighty. I think we need a Department of Peace. That'd be nice. Yes, Chevron already has access to the oil in Venezuela. All he did is arrest a dictator, not seeing a backlash as too severe. Okay. Well, we will see. Because I understand a lot of Venezuelans are very happy that Maduro has been outed, but then there are some that are not happy. You just see them on the internet. Maybe it's just angry people that don't know the situation at all, but you can never be too sure, especially considering that China had their fingers in Venezuela as well. But it seems like China's going to be taken care of. And China really does need America to buy their goods. And I know China has ongoing agreements with Russia. Well, this whole issue, the situation puts Russia in a good position. And it was said on the Duran report, which I shared on my X account earlier. And if you don't know who they are, please go watch their videos. Very insightful men there, where they said, this puts Russia in the position to sell oil to China if they're not going to get it from Venezuela. But it sounds like China's going to be getting oil from Venezuela through the Americans. So, but yes, what was I on? I went on a tangent and I need to re-ask the question. Okay, if we are going to be seeing a kind of insurgency, guerrilla warfare in Venezuela from those that don't agree with what we're doing. Okay. And our current position, Dagas, this is a time of transformation, a time of change. We are going through major change. Venezuela is going through major change. And then in the Fehu position, we have Hargalas. So those that were in power in Venezuela, obviously Hargalas has to do with karmic return. So they are going to get their comeuppance, and they might not be too happy with that, especially if they have mistreated any of the citizens, and those higher ups within the Venezuelan government are still there, besides Maduro and his wife, and it sounds like a lot of the higher ups made deals with the American government. Okay, that's all good and well. But the citizens, they might remember some of the crimes that they did. And we might not be aware of all the crimes that were committed in Venezuela against the population there, the civilians. But let's see what's going on with Urus, with strength, vitality, Pethro. Yes, so this is going to be a trying time of different variables that are unknown at this time. They will appear as they come along. When you get Pethro, it really means, it's a lock cup. That's what the Pethro rune is about. And when you see it in a reading, you could kind of take it as anything goes. Anything could happen. Yes, Maduro was voted out, but he seized power. Exactly. Yes. And this Hargalas in Fehu could be the citizens taking revenge. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago I was watching was it Baldwin Bankrupt? He went to Venezuela? Somebody went to Venezuela. And they showed what, kind of conditions that they live in over there. But anyway, and Thurisaz, Thurisaz dealing with the, aggression, chaos, masculine energy. Let's see what's going on. Yara, so this is going to last for a while. Remember how long Maduro was in power for, and how wrongly these people were treated. They are going to return that in time, and it's going to be, growing resentment. And I'm sure that they've had a lot of resentment to give. This Hargalaz doesn't appear in a reading for nothing. That is a very harsh rune. And sorry, my cat's behind there playing peekaboo. In the Ansu's position, we have Rido. So the knowledge, the deeper meaning is, upon these people. They are going to have a lot of ways to process through this, or a lot of processing. It needs to be done emotionally, the emotional trauma. And I've heard some of these tales of what happened in Venezuela, that people were eating their pets. Speaking of cats, I don't know how true that is, but it is frightening. But yeah. Now going to the radio position in the reading, we have manas. These people are going to join together in, their futures. And so far, this is looking very positive, except for this Hargalaz here. We have to remember that, this karma is coming upon these former leaders. Now in Canas, we have Urus. Now remember, Pethro was in Urus. So they're going to be finding their own strength again. And I think this leads more into Rido here and Ansu's, is that they're going to be finding their own strength again. And hopefully, with these oil companies coming in, there's more prosperity, more work for these people to do, to keep themselves occupied, so they're not in revenge mode. Now into Gabo, we have Iwas. So the exchange, Gabo can be about, equilibrium, exchange, balance, and perhaps the people in Venezuela, obviously, their communications have been limited. The ways and means that they have to communicate have been limited, and now they're going to be able to. And I think I saw earlier that Elon Musk said that they were finally able to access X, get on Twitter. So that's good for them. So they're able to see, the other side of the world, and how they think and how they feel about what is going on. And next we're going to move into Wunyo. And by the way, this reading is brought to you by Big Ballard. This is a tasty beer. Alrighty. In Wunyo. Oh, we got Wunyo. So there's going to be this brief period of aggression, of anger, of distrust, to the current government of what they have done. Eventually it's going to come around to joy, and they're very happy. And they deserve to be happy, and for the international community, some people are upset, some people are very happy. But it all just depends, not just all just depends. What is important to the Venezuelans? Why are they happy with this? Are they happy with this outcome? Yes, they're going to have a period, like I said, of this revenge, but it's all going to come out on top. And, I have spoken negatively of, Israel's influence on this situation. But at the end of the day, this wasn't good for Venezuela to be under Maduro's rulership. It wasn't. They were once, Venezuela one of the richest countries on earth, and they have the largest oil reserves. And I hope Chevron and other oil companies actually employ these people and treat them well, instead of treating them like shit. That is, what I'm holding on to for a little bit of hope. But yeah, but how is the international community? Because this was kind of extreme. I know this was more of a how Trump took out Maduro, what was through the DEA pretty much. How is the international community going to react to this in the future? Because, everybody's a bit in shock right now of how quickly this happened. Because I've heard people say that, well, remember Bush Jr. went into Iraq, and it took a couple of months to get Saddam Hussein. Well, this took a couple of hours to get Maduro. I understand that was a different situation then, and maybe it's just the improvement of technology in this 21, 22 year period. All the colonies are crying, exactly, yes. And I'm no fan of communism. Yep, deal with it, exactly, yeah. Yeah, the other countries, I'm more or less worried about, Russia and China. I hope they're, I hope they're going to be good, but I'm about to do a reading on that anyway. But Vidar, I saw a comment. Venezuela looks nicer than Flint. Screw them. Yeah, Flint, Michigan. Oh my gosh. We aren't Superman. Our government should serve U.S. citizens. They can find their strength on their own, and we can take what we need. Right. Oh, I'm certainly enjoying the salt. Right, yes, the salt is flowing in abundance right now over this whole thing. The memes are very dank, as they say. But yeah, I do wish, we focused on ourselves here in America, but I think after this reading, I'm going to do another reading on how this is going to benefit Americans. And I hope it does, because if we're going to be taking oil from Venezuela, then we better see gas prices drop dramatically. I mean, back to like what they were in the 90s at least. But, okay, my question was, what will be the international response to this? Because remember, not everybody's a fan of America and President Trump. We have Russia and China to be concerned about, although I did talk about them earlier in this video, but see what the runes and the gods have to say. Okay. Kenos, I am looking for knowledge. Okay, and Fehu. The Fehu position, we have Yera, so the economic impact is going to be ongoing, growing. Ongoing and growing. Yera does have a lot to do with growth, and remember, Yera is basically two Kenoses. That's a little trick that Freya Aswynn told me. And Urus, in the Urus position, we have Rido. So going towards strength. They're seeing America's strength. I mean, really, this was, it's hard to describe because it happened so quickly. This was just an absolute show of American strength. And I'm not a big fan of war, necessarily, but yeah, that's just what we saw last night. And Thurisaz, Dagas. So, a change in how they view us in a war sense, because America has kind of been, Biden flubbed the pullout of Afghanistan. Okay, that made America look very weak. And a couple months later, Putin invaded Ukraine, and there were some speculations that he did that after seeing what Biden did in Afghanistan. He completely flubbed that. So this is a change in how the world sees America militarily. I know the military isn't perfect, but there we go. Ansus. We have Ingus. Very interesting. First time pulling this rune this evening. I'm very happy to see Ingus here. This is a period of, growth. We're getting a lot of growth runes here. I'm happy to see that. Rido position. Let's see what's going on. We have Wunyo in Rido. It is going to benefit us and the rest of the world, because if America has money, we tend to spend it. I know I do. So in the Kenaz position, let's see what's going on. Not these. So yeah, the rest of the world, they need to know. They want to know. They want to know what's going on. What happened? They're not getting the full story. Some countries may be suspicious that, maybe America is holding back a little bit on the information that they provided on to why this happened. And I'm kind of wondering, are we going to see another rune here that's going to show some sort of, criminal process against America for doing this, because some countries are very upset. So, and Gabo, equilibrium, gifts, Ewas. So everything is working itself out in this regard. Ewas does have to do with communication. I know Trump does like to talk. And Ewas is also about movement. It's about travel. Ewas is the horse rune. So methods used for moving, that oil, that has been there. I've heard a lot about American oil reserves, but I don't hear too much about the rest of the world, except if it's Europe. I do hear about, their troubles with oil. And yeah, what just popped into my mind was the German infrastructure, German industry. They've suffered quite a bit since all the goings on in Ukraine. So I wonder if that is going to manifest all the way in Germany, if something's going to happen there. I'm kind of wondering. And Wunyo, okay, Hargalaz. So Hargalaz, in case I haven't brought it up, does have to do, with the karmic past, what we've done in the past. So the world is a little nervous. There are some signs of growth here. But then there is also this worry of, what happened. And the 2000s, especially with the Bush era. And Trump promised to be a president of peace, no more new wars, but, multiples are starting up, which I don't necessarily agree with, but, I'm not pulling the strings here. I don't decide, and I don't say what's happened, what can happen, or what should happen. I'm just a citizen, I pay my taxes, I just work here, is the phrase that most people use. But let's see here. Yes, the U.S. gets a large amount of oil from Canada. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Alberta. I love Alberta. I've heard rumors and, talks about Alberta becoming a state, and I would love for them to become a state. And I'm going to say something blasphemous as a Texan. Absolutely blasphemous. Alberta has some of the best beef I've ever eaten in my entire life. I've had, we went up there twice when I was a kid. and a hamburger from a local place. Oh gosh, it was delicious. This is, oh, you're in Alberta. I'm jealous. You have the best beef up there. Seriously. I mean, it's just tasty. And then there's that one dinosaur museum. I can't remember the name of it, but it's incredible. And then the Calgary Zoo is cool. And what was that? That Edmonton Mall, the world's biggest mall. I don't know if it's still the world's biggest mall, but I have fond memories of my family going up to Alberta. But what my brother does not have fond memories because he had to do the driving, and Canadian roads confused him. Alberta's cool, but if a Canadian ever tells you that something's just, a while away, or, they actually mean it's like a couple hours away. This was also about influence of China and Russia on American hemisphere as well. Yes. Yeah, the dinosaur museum. Yeah, as far as the last reading that I did, the international community, yeah, they are worried, all worried in terms of, that Hargalaz at the end of the reading was very telling in that, there is chances and opportunities for growth, but, this trepidation that they all have, especially, Russia and China, sometimes, you're not a Canadian, but you're in Alberta. Okay. But I'm just saying in general, as far as Canadians go, they tell you something's a short distance away or a while away, and they mean hours. But yeah, I'm going to go into how this is going to impact Americans. How is this going to impact Americans? Okay. It was. So my main concern with Americans, and I know this has been popping up a lot because Venezuela's, they have oil. Okay. That is what the big concern is. Are we going to see a boom in our economy in terms of transportation? The return of the gas guzzler. I'm not too keen on that, but okay. In the Fehu position, which has to do with money. Mana. So this is going to benefit the common man. I would hope. Because it has, I'm in Washington State, and I know other states have lower gas prices than we do because our governor is just like increasing our gas prices through, taxes and whatnot, environmental causes that aren't true environmental causes. It's just a way to tax people and just saying that it's for the environment, which I think is the worst thing that you can do, is to take advantage of the environmental cause to make money. Show me the manas! Show me the fehu! Yes, that's what we want to see is fehu. Yeah, wealth, cattle. Speaking of beef and burgers. Okay, into Urus. We have Pethro. Yes, in our strength, this is going to bring a whole lot of, challenges, different situations. Some states might fare better than other states. And then we are going to look into Thurisaz. What is in the Thurisaz position? We have Wunyo. I never like pulling up Wunyo in the Thurisaz position because Thurisaz is about chaos, a little bit of destruction, masculine energy. Not that masculine energy is bad, but just describing Thurisaz to you. But Wunyo is about joy, and harmony and happiness. But then when you throw it in with chaos, uncertainty, ups and downs, I was told earlier on X to look at, what's going on with the stock market. Up and down, up and down. Yeah. Let's see here. We need to dump the net zero shit. Carbon tax, wind and solar power doesn't work, and get on with life. Exactly. Yeah. Windmills are ugly. I mean, we went to Eastern Washington a couple of years ago, and it's just full of these wind farms, and they're just ugly. They just ruin the view. And then power. I mean, I've heard some people say that China's way ahead of us. I think what is that one word? Hydraulic or water power. Through rivers, dams produce. Water produces energy. That is a big option for America that I think that we need to look into, because we actually have a lot of, we're surrounded by ocean, pretty much. And then better nuclear power that actually is safe. And I know there's some trepidation about that, but it is what it is. It's I mean, there's clean energy, and then there's what we already know what to do with, which is oil and coal, which, it does hurt the environment. But if we're serious, the only option is nuclear power. Yeah, exactly. But everybody got really scared of Chernobyl. And what was it? What was that island in New York? But anyway, yeah, exactly. Nuclear is, but I know I got derailed there. And the Ansu's position as how this is going to impact the average American. Urus, bring us closer back to our original strength and our knowledge of how strong America can be. We're with this Wunyo and Thurisaz, we're going to be having a little bit of turbulence in this, but realizing how strong we are as Americans, because a lot of the rest of the world sees us as, fat and lazy. Okay. We do produce a lot of fast food and junk food. That's not exactly the best for us. But we're very resourceful as Americans. And in the Rido position, we have Kenos. Kenos in Rido. This is going to go forward into, knowledge of our best selves here with Urus. I like that. And now in Kenos, we've already got Kenos in the reading. Kenos position, we have Lagus. So this is going to be, full of emotion for us. And I hope nothing bad is going to happen to the oil tankers in the ocean. And I don't think that they would. No, they won't, because they already do use oil tankers. I was thinking for a moment, I've been pulling up EWAs a lot, so maybe that has to do with another form of transportation, like a train. Okay, no, not trains. Not in that part of the world. Especially, you're going up through Panama. No. Let's see here. I mean, the Monroe Doctrine is about policing our hemisphere, not the world. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of gone to shit. Yeah, but anyway, as far as Lagus goes, Lagus has to do with emotions. Water and the emotions, so that esoteric value in Kenos. And Kenos also has to do with the torch. And supposedly, in my mind, I'm visualizing Kenos heating up the water. Maybe we are a little more emotional in seeing this and seeing how quickly it happened. One thing after another for the American people. I mean, we just, went through the entire news cycle, felt like for months after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Um, but let's go into Gabo. What is in the Gabo position? Issa. So things are going to remain the same for a while. Um, the give and take, the balance is going to remain the same. You know, the whole thing with this, this benefit of additional oil is, are we actually going to see it? I would hope we eventually do, but Issa being here in Gabo, Issa is about ice stagnation, stopping that, or things will just remain the same as they are. Vidar, the gift of ice, get 'em, boys. Well, yes, Issa, ice, yeah, exactly. Sometimes you do need to look at runes quite literally, and you'll get a pretty good answer, and that was a pretty funny one. Is everyone going to ignore that mustache? He looks like Saddam. Exactly. I mean, it's the mark of a dictator is to have that mustache. You got to have a thick, bushy mustache in order to be a dictator. If you don't have one, you're not a good dictator. It's part of the wardrobe. And people were comparing his picture to that streamer, Dr. Disrespect, because he was wearing these really thick sunglasses. So, yeah. But in the Wunyo position, we're going to check it out. Yara, okay. I feel a lot better now. Okay, so that Issa was pretty disappointing in Gabo, as far as the, things remaining the same. But in Wunyo, in happiness is going to come down the line. Okay, well, this does make sense in the terms of, they have to get the oil. I'm not sure what goes into it, how it's done, how much is going to be done in Venezuela, and how is it going to reach us, and what is it going to do when it gets here, and the whole, line of production of getting this oil, to us is, that's a process within itself. But it is going to take time. We're going to see it down the line. And I did see somebody say, because I was thinking, okay, Trump's going to only be in office for so long. What's going to happen with a new administration, whether they be Republican or Democrat? Well, I already saw some speculation that even if it is a Democrat, they're going to keep this because it's too much of a strategic value for Americans. Happiness is me adding new daylilies to the pollinator garden in my front yard. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, and in terms of that, in terms of the reading, our happiness is going to come down the line. It's not going to be instantaneous that we are going to see the benefits from this. It may be, 6 months to a year down the line. And I do hope that we do see it, because there has been some very dark times for Americans, and this has almost been a distraction from everything that has gone on that I just mentioned. The Charlie Kirk assassination, very traumatic. The Epstein files, upheaval, the whole things with the Somalian immigrants, in the daycare centers, very demoralizing. I hope the DEA agents were blaring "Ice, Ice Baby" by Vanilla Ice as they cuffed Maduro. I think it was a DEA agent. And anytime I say DEA now, I think of Breaking Bad and what was his name? Hank Schrader. I don't know if anybody's watched Breaking Bad, and if you haven't, you do need to watch it. It is one of the greatest shows ever conceived by humanity. But yeah, as far as the drug enforcement, it meant, yeah. But yeah, obviously it wasn't about drugs. It was about getting the oil. Okay. And it's going to be a benefit for the Venezuelan people, although they're going to have a chip on their shoulder for a very long time. And there's going to be a period of aggression from them, of course. And for the American people, the benefits aren't going to be seen for a little while longer, but they will be seen. But anybody have any ideas for another reading? I got time for one more here. Or if anybody has any questions, let me know. Usually I save my beer before streams, but this evening, yeah, it's drinking a beer on stream night. It was a pretty interesting day. Just catching up on all the news with what has happened and what's going on. Yeah, a lot of chaos today. Very much a Thursaw's type of energy, especially going into the new year. Yeah, any subject, yeah. Yeah, if you want to change the subject, I'm cool. Yeah, if you want me to do a reading on a subject or just talk about another subject, yeah, I'm down. It's a Saturday night. I'm no longer a young woman that goes out to clubs with my friends. That was a long time ago when I didn't have kids. Yeah, going down to 6th Street in Austin with my friends. But we wouldn't go to 6th Street, we would go down to 4th because there was this Irish pub called Bull McCabe's, and right next to it was a New Jersey pizza place, pizzeria, called Hoboken Pie. That was really good. But anyway, the obvious thing, what is going on in Iran? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is it because I kind of have a question about that too, and the runes can answer that. Is it organic or is it caused by Israel? Yeah, keep Austin weird. Oh, I haven't been there in 10 years. I haven't been back home in, no, 11 years now, almost 12. I haven't been to Austin. But it is my hometown. I miss it. I miss breakfast tacos. But yeah, Robert, let me know if it's more or less concerning Israel or if it's concerning the Iranian people. Yeah, let me know. But yeah, growing up in Austin was very much salty pizza, sauce, and beers at top tier. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. There's certain beers that it will pair with certain foods. Like, you can't eat sushi without Sapporo. And there's some really good sushi restaurants in Seattle, and I haven't been to them in years, but yeah, sushi and Sapporo. Seems organic. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, maybe more or less, what's the outcome for Iran? Are they're actually going to have regime change? Leave Islam behind? You know, more freedom there. Oh, I pulled 2. Okay, in the present position, we have Gabo. We're wondering about, where this is coming from. where we are going and, the balance of things, because we've got multiple things. We've got, we've got Israel. We've got the Iranian people, the Persians, and then we also have in Fehu we have Daga. So there's their vitality, and their economics are going through a change. Maybe this is money motivated, because we only get so much information out of Iran as it is. And on to Uruz. Oh, we have Fehu. First time Fehu is coming up in our readings tonight. We have Fehu and Uruz. So yes, it is. I would say this, this is a money motivation. Maybe the whole Islamic regime over there isn't providing the people what they need, either both spiritually and financially. Israel has certainly done a lot to initiate it by crushing Hamas, Hezbollah, and attacking Iran itself, but I don't think it's an Israeli thing directly. Well, yeah, and I remember, in 2000, maybe 2009, there was another uprising in Iran. Maybe I'm wrong about the year, but I do remember another uprising in Iran. But in Thursaz, this is gonna kind of make or break it. We have Uruz. So yeah, definitely a challenging, because, Uruz, the Arak, is definitely a animal of power. This, it's an extinct form of cattle. But, it's strength. But then Thurisaz is also about strength, but with a little bit of chaos. So these two primordial energies are combating each other. This strength of freedom, and then this, this Thurisaz, this destructive Islam, fanaticism, that perpetuates inside Iran, forces women to cover themselves, the Persian Iranian women, and how intelligent they are. You see pictures and videos from the 1970s of the Iranian women, looking very contemporary for the 1970s, modern for the 1970s is what I'm trying to say. And then, the regime change is just such a shock in culture for them. And I've worked with a lot of Iranians. They prefer to be called Persians, but they were Christian, and they left Iran, and they were all very intelligent people. Uruz is brute physical strength. Thurisaz is aggressive, attacking violence towards enemies. Yes. So yes, they are both going towards each other. There could be a bit of conflict and a bit of violence in this entire situation. And now that you bring that up, it just pops into my head that I heard that with Venezuela, they had a lot of inflation. And with Iran, I heard earlier that they had inflation as well. So that could be a bit of what's going on. Islam is not native to Iran. It's the old Persian culture taking power back, maybe. Yes. But let's go into Ansus and see what's going on. Oh, first time tonight. Tiwaz. We love to see it. The god Tyr is here with us in the Odin rune Ansus. So that energy, getting back to the truth of who they were. And yeah, Robert, you were correct. I'm kind of feeling like this is the old Persian culture coming back. This is the truth. This is what they are supposed to be, the ancestors. Yeah, the Iranian economy has gone to shit for sure. Yes. Now let's look into Rhino. We have Berkana. First time Berkana's coming up in this reading tonight. Berkana, one of my favorite runes, by the way. And this rune has a lot to do with femininity. I mean, these are boobies. But Burkana, having to do with femininity. Um, and for the Iranian woman, they have gone through so much shit, being forced to cover up, which is just, it blocks a lot of feminine energy where they're forced to suppress who they are, how they look, and how they can talk. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but what is it called? Not Without My Daughter, which showcases what life is like for the average Iranian woman. Just absolutely horrific. So yes, this is, while the Western woman has, they utilize feminism in a very negative way. The Iranian woman could definitely use feminism, especially against Islam. And then in Kenas, let's see what's going on. Righto, yes, knowledge is coming back to Iran. Maybe they're getting information from the outside, where they are waking up to, what they knew before in Tiwaz. Maybe they're speaking to the elders about how things were, and the younger generation, they're not into that. And Gabo, gifts. Oh, Wunyo. This is really good. I like this. And I think this is a very good sign unless we pull something up negative in Wunyo. So, in Wunyo, in Gabo, yes, the equilibrium is coming back. And I hope it lasts for the Iranian people. And in Wunyo position, oh, so things might remain the same for a while yet. And, it does seem kind of bleak. This whole happiness, maybe it's not going to happen right away. But yeah, the seeds have been sown. This isn't going away, and I don't think it's going to last. Let's do a clarification rune on that Isa there. Iwas. So yes, we are going towards, we got 2 runes associated with travel. And it's not just physical travel. This is information warfare. That is going to be a change in the way things are done there in Iran, where, the negativity of Islam can only last so long. When you have information, knowledge, kenas in your life, it can only last so long until it just completely crumbles and falls away. Same thing with Christianity. Christianity, crumbles under knowledge. Yes. Let me see. That's what happens when you take the goddess out of religion and rely on one god alone. Yeah, exactly. You don't have Gabo when you don't have a goddess and you just worship a god. You don't have balance. You don't have equilibrium. If you just got rid of one line here in Gabo, you know what you're going to have? Isa. Nothing can grow. You're stuck in stagnation without, the masculine and the feminine. You can't grow. Talk shit about Islam plant. Well, it is what it is. But yeah, as far as, goddess culture and goddess worship, they also need the divine masculine and divine feminine. They balance each other out. And that's a big part of why people are attracted to paganism, is that, it brings balance, Gabo, back into our lives to balance each other out. Not only in our worship, but in our relationships with other people. Men and women, we complement each other. We both have our individual strengths and weaknesses. In one area, men are weak, women are strong. In one area, women are weak and men are strong. It all just depends on, what it is. But just focusing on one is not going to be, within balance, within Gaba. Because, you see it happen time and time again, especially, if you focus too much on the divine feminine, men kind of get burned. Okay, I can understand that. And if you focus too much on the divine masculine, women get burned. So balance is extremely important. Yes, Iran traditionally is Zoroastrian, which is a very good masculine-feminine balance. I haven't done a whole lot of research into Zoroastrianism, just a little bit. But yeah, I know where you're coming from on that. But yeah, traditionally, so many cultures had a balance of masculine and feminine energies, gods and goddesses, before all these, monotheistic religions came into power, Christianity and Islam in particular, where they got rid of the goddess of goddesses, in which they, shunned that, and women suffered, and they, targeted women as being negative, and women started to manifest that negativity within themselves and their behavior. And I often point to how women treated me when I was young and Christian to the way pagan women treat each other. It's a lot more positive. Yeah, their symbol is the black and white chessboard, right? A perfect balance of dark and light. Yeah, that is a good balance. Yes, between colors, they are polar opposites. But yeah, one cannot exist without the other, although they say that black is the absence of color. If you've ever done any painting, um, you know that it's just all the colors. And then, white is, kind of like a purification of the colors. You know, but I'm doing a color theory right there. But yeah, divine masculine and divine feminine can be seen across the world before, all these monotheistic religions took a hold. And one thing that women can do, once they do find paganism, is, create that balance within themselves, and not to go completely into, something like Dianic Wicca, which kind of creates that, you're going too far, and you're creating an imbalance, where you want to stay balanced in the middle. Uh, that's a good way to live, is within balance. If you have a negative relationship with the men in your life, you need to, try to repair some of that, or, not take it out on the masculine gods. And same with men. If you have a negative relationship with women, don't take it out on the goddesses. There's, more than one way to be a man and more than one way to be a woman, and there's, multiple different, gods and goddesses for you to connect with. And all you have to do really is just talk to the gods and to study the gods, because they will just reach out to you and say hello when you're studying them. Like the other night, I was talking about the first time I did a ritual, or not the first time, but the first time I did a ritual after I was studying the Norse goddesses, is I was really fascinated by the All-Mother Frigg. And I was doing drawing down the moon, full moon ritual, and Frigga came to me when I was doing that. And, her energy, it was pretty obvious who she was. And that's just one way of showing you how these gods and goddesses will reach out to you. It's just, you study, you do a ritual, and they reach out to you, or you're just studying and they just reach out to you. But that is one of the beautiful parts about paganism, is that there are plenty of gods and goddesses to get yourself acquainted with. But anybody else have any more questions? Let me know. Feel free to pick my brain if you want to. Take a look over at X to see if anything wild has happened. Because it has been a wild 24 hours. I just want to check just in case. And of course, #1 trending, freaking Seahawks. I don't give a shit. I don't like sports ball. The freaking Seattle Seahawks stole the 12th man idea from Texas A&M. Of course, yeah, people are still talking about the Epstein files. Good for them. Impeach Trump unfit for office. Yeah, of course. That's the drama. But yeah, if anybody has any more questions, just feel free to let me know. We have been yapping for an hour here. Oh, and people are referencing the Iraq War on X. Yep, and I feel like it's really a just a leftover imprint of negativity from Iraq that our generation has had to deal with. I'm waiting for the Winter Olympics so I can watch the curling matches. Oh, that's cool. I wonder if the next Venezuelan president is going to be from Israel. It's almost guaranteed. I guess the opposition party, she is not going to be put in power per Trump. But I guess if Venezuela is going to have a central bank, then they have to, play nice with Israel. Okay. But yeah, as far as that goes, yeah, it's almost guaranteed they're gonna have some sort of connection to Israel. We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. Yeah, that's a good song. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up. And thank you all so much for coming by and watching. It has been a fun stream. And maybe I will do more reading streams in the future. It's something I used to do a couple of years ago. But yeah, it is fun. And, it's, the runes, they don't lie. It's just, if, yeah, sometimes, if you feel like you've read the runes wrong, well, yeah, that's on you, and your interpretation's wrong, and you will find out that yeah, the runes were right, and you just interpreted them incorrectly. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much on the money tonight. I'm feeling pretty confident. Yeah. But thank you all so much for joining me, and until next time, hail the gods.